Women who use Tinder, what are you actually looking for? I used Tinder during my summer abroad to practice my French with locals in Paris. I never met up with any of them though, because that's how people get taken. I was on there for a while. At first just liked flirting with strangers, but did meet a handful. I wasn't really into any, but we had a laugh on our dates. I didn't really take it too seriously. Eventually I met up with this guy, and he turned out to be exactly my type of guy. A good looking, intelligent, curly haired comedian. He was really easy to talk to. Everything about him was interesting, and we talked about stuff for hours. But afterwards the texts dropped off pretty quickly. After that I realized that you might have a large selection of people to choose from, but so do they, and the likelihood that, if you do decide you like someone, that they will choose you back is low. So I got rid of it. Edit. To answer 90% of the replies, I didn't want a relationship. If anything, I was looking for a FWB kind of situation. It just took the shine off it to feel a bit rejected. Also, yes, people can do this in real life, but it's definitely more concentrated on an app when you literally have everyone at your fingertips. I remember it being pretty addictive. I'm kind of paranoid now as I didn't think anyone would read this, but to all the people asking if it was you, it probably wasn't. I used it in my last semester of college mostly to meet people and casually date, since I was going to be leaving soon. That was 6 months ago, and I've been with my boyfriend I met on it ever since. So it goes. A guy who actually looks like his pictures and can carry his end of the conversation. Amazing how rare that is. If I found a woman on Tinder that held their end of the conversation, I would be so happy. A mutually invested individual that may or may not evolve into something interesting. I feel like the majority of the people who quip about it being an app strictly for f***ing are basing it entirely on anecdotal circle jerk nonsense and have never actually used it. For all of those suggesting OkCupid or POF, you've clearly not been on the online scene for too long. POF is just as trashy, if not more so, and OkCupid is a waste of time depending on where you live. For me, it's a total waste of time. Tinder is ideal because you don't talk to someone unless you're mutually interested. POF and OkCupid remind me of being out at a bar and constantly being drooled on by sleazy men who think no just means buy me another drink and then maybe. My honest answer, I don't really know. Swiping is the fun part. It just feels good to see that there's so many guys out there. I recently ended a long-term relationship, and it's fun matching with really hot guys. Messaging is fun, but I usually stop replying simply because I don't have notifications on, and I only check the app every couple weeks. I've never met a guy from Tinder before. I often intend to, but then something comes up and I don't. I just have a hard time prioritizing texting somebody I've never even met before. Anything, really, which sounds super open-ended, but I started out looking for a relationship, realized 2 days in that it probably wasn't going to happen, and broadened my horizons. I just go along with whatever happens, be it friendship or hookups, or whatever. I actually have a friends with benefits type situation going on right now with a guy I met off of Tinder. I didn't see myself ever doing it, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I also post NSFW moments on Tinder, but that's more about attention and validation than anything else, TBH. Someone cool to hang out with and see if it turns into something. I've actually hung out with like 4 guys, 2 are nuts, and 2 are amazing. Went on 1 date with each, and have second dates set up with each. I have no idea what to do if both of the second dates go well. I was on a business trip in Singapore for 3.5 weeks. A few days before I had to leave, I signed up for Tinder because I wanted to meet some new people who could show me around the city. It worked out pretty well. I went out and explored the city twice with a nice, good-looking guy before I left the country. I downloaded the app just to try it out and had zero expectations. After a few boring matches, I matched with this really cute guy who seemed to have endless similarities with me. We've been dating for over a month now. It's going pretty well, and he is absolutely amazing. I met my current boyfriend on a Tinder date. He was not my match. He was sitting at the bar after just moving to our city. I was on a horrible date. I whispered to him, "Rescue me, you're cute and I'm on the world's worst ducking Tinder date." When I was going to buy the Dutcher bag, I was with his fourth Jack and Coke. I don't expect a man to pay for me, but I also don't want to do all the paying. My now boyfriend screams at me like a fucking Oscar-worthy actor, "You seriously invited me here to watch you go on a date? We have a ducking child together." Tinder douche bailed, and boyfriend and I have been together for a year. Everyone tells us our meeting story is like a ducking rom-com, and I can concede that it indeed is. I was looking for people to hang out with, ended up with a husband. Last year was pretty rough for me, brand new city, no friends, etc. I got in Tinder to find people to chill with. If someone was obviously fishing for a hookup, I'd apologize and move on. If we have FB likes in common, I was more likely to talk to them. Also, show yourself doing stuff you like in your pics. Guy plus instrument, guy plus his pets, guy plus Marvel, anything equals yes please. Some guys would pretend to be more into Marvel / comics / gaming / my kinda music / whatever than they actually were, so it was hard to keep them an interesting conversation. I would meet a guy, hang out with / casually date him for about a month, we'd get bored, and I'd get back on Tinder and move on. Had 4 successful Tinder guys, and 2 bad Tinder dates. The 5th success totally caught me off guard, and was absolutely stunning. Like, holy shit, I can't casually date you, you're like marriage material. Thankfully he felt the same way. We got married 3 weeks ago. I had just gotten out of a really long, bad relationship, hadn't been single in years, wanted attention, and wanted something carefree and easy. Lo and behold, I met someone, and now we've been dating 9 months, haha whoops. I was looking for a little positive attention after months of struggling to move on from a difficult breakup. Went on one date with a gorgeous man, and somehow charmed him into putting up with me for the past year. I got more than what I was looking for, but I'd say it worked out for me. So, I'll start off with saying that I got out of a terrible relationship and had to move to my home state. I was in a really bad position and severely depressed. I found Tinder through the apps in the Apple Store. It kept my mind focused on something other than my failed relationship. I saw a lot of faces I personally knew in my area. Some of them I wanted to see, some of them I simply laughed at and left swiped with the hope that they won't come across my page. I remember the night I saw the love of my life on Tinder. Corny, I know. I right swiped him, and it came up with a match. We talked back and forth the next day for maybe 10 minutes, and then met at a local bar. I met him, and I was in love. We saw each other for a split second, and the first thing he said to me was, "I need a drink." He came back outside where I was smoking, and we hit it off right away. We were both extremely awkward at first, but we found out we were also in very similar situations. After the next 3 months we made it official on October 31st. Within the next 6 months we moved in together. At the beginning of this month we signed a lease to our first apartment. Our 1 year is coming up, and we've also briefly talked about getting married. I couldn't be happier. I found my best friend, the love of my life, the person I truly admire, waking up to every day. I would live through every terrible experience I have ever had before meeting him again, just to fall in love again. Thank you, Tinder. I used it to look for new friends. I moved to a new state and know about 2 people. I have made 0 friends, but I have gotten plenty of offers for Netflix and chill. Basically, Tinder is an app that takes away the confidence of men shorter than 6 feet and then gives that confidence to semi-unattractive women as they are lavished with attention from increasingly desperate shorter males. Funny enough, one of my wife's really close friends, a bridesmaid in our wedding, went on Tinder out of curiosity as she was leaving a very bad relationship. As she was swiping through people, she found one she liked and swiped accordingly. Apparently he swiped that he liked her as well, and then Tinder told her that they had 30 common Facebook friends, including me and my wife. She then realized that he was one of the groomsmen in my wedding. They have now been on 20 plus dates and are working towards an official relationship. TLDR. Friend was on Tinder after suffering a bad relationship. Ended up matching with one of my other friends who was in my wedding with her. From my experience, 90% of girls who use it install the app Upload their top 3 liked photos from Instagram/FB, then match with guys for the attention/confidence boost, with no intention of talking to them or meeting up. After 2 to 3 weeks of this they get bored and delete the app. Then, eventually, a few months later a boy hurts their feelings and their self-confidence is lowered enough for them to reinstall the app. Rinse and repeat.